time. It's time. It's time. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. Yeah. 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 It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah!
I was like, what is Nick pointing at?
He's pointing at me. He's pointing at me.
Breaking news, the juice is loose is in tonight, so he got to get the yeah on Mondays. All right, Nick, I got you.
The news
we got a busy Monday to react to. This was, for some, this was the end of your regular season. For some, this is also the game prior to the end of your regular season. So a lot to go over, a lot of things happening, even as we speak with the Pats and the Bills game on, which is great. Let's get it started. Welcome to the studio, Greg. The juice is loose. Our breaking news juice. We got to think of a name. Welcome to the studio.
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing tonight, man? I'm just excited. I'm thinking about in the 100 leagues that I'm in this year, I think I made the playoffs in about 50.
Hey, that's it. Hey, like we said, when we do the predictions, it's about 50% about what we're running. So, hey, we'll take it all day.
50%.
All right, let's also welcome to the studio, Nick. You got Flanders Macaronis.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. Hey, it is holiday season still. It still didn't pass us by. So, again, what is the best thing you can get for a TSS fantasy fan? Merchandise. I will tell. Go to tssfantasy.com and click on merchandise and click on the little box that says merchandise, as I just said, and you can see our hats, our mugs, our t-shirts, our beanies, our doohickeys, our doodads, and our johns, and buy some lovely apparel for us so you and yours can represent tssfantasy.com. It's not a better gift than to buy a fantasy football fan.
Indeed, you want to be TSS Fantasy all holiday season. Couldn't agree more. All right, don't forget, visit us at tssfantasy.com. All of our current rankings, which doesn't matter right now, but for next week when you need them, we'll be back up for you. Also, we got a link for Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. All the great sports podcasts on there, wrestling to racing, basketball season's on. So we got great stuff for you. Be sure to check it out. Don't forget, also on Sundays, we are part of the Belly Up, Wake Up Belly Up Sports lineup. So make sure you wake up with us on Sundays. And also this week, a little special event from Belly Up. They're actually going to be at the tailgate event, believe it or not. I actually won't be there in person, but I will make a guest appearance via the radio, via Colorcast. So some Belly Up personalities from High-Low Sports, also from Gridiron Gallery, going to be out tailgating, getting fans excited, and we'll call in and do some fantasy updates while we're at it. You know why? Because we are the fantasy show of the people. All right, let's get things started off with some news. All right there, Johnny. All right, so let's talk about the news tonight.
Keep it classy.
Forgot to click the banner. Our man, the breaking news, juice is loose. I'm going to have you break this if you like. You broke it on Twitter a little while ago. Talk about what's going on in L.A.
So, came out a couple hours ago that Keenan Allen is on the COVID-19 protocol list. But there is some hope and a chance that he might still possibly play on Sunday because he is, unlike Antonio Brown, vaccinated and really vaccinated. Not a
jack tart.
So all you Keenan Allen owners, just hope, pray that he will be available. He did have a big game this past Sunday too, so he might be available.
Did he?
Might.
He might. He might. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, he might be available. That will be interesting. Yeah, and like you said, hey, get vaccinated, guys. Look what happens. He might even be available this week. All right, Jalen Hurts. Hey, it's actually expected to be back. I know he was out this week. There's a particular reason I'm bringing this up right now. He will be back, however, in week 15. But Nick, I wanted to ask you about Minshew Mania. Is it Minshew Mania time in Philly?
No. Not even close. He didn't do it against the Bills. He did it against the Jets. I mean, come on, dude. Really? Really? Is it Minshew Mania? Get out of here. Right? I'm not even going to discuss that.
All right. Well, hey, you never know. I thought he's got that Tim Tebow appeal, and I know that's the kind of guy you like. So I figured that'd be more up your alley. So.
Well, look how far it got Tebow.
That is true. Very true. All right. Daniel Jones. He's going to be out a couple weeks. Just to this, we had note. It was kind of weird. Like that came up out of Sun Isle Blue that he wasn't playing. Now he's out a couple weeks. So. For fantasy perspectives, he is done pretty much for your season. There's really no reason to hold on to him. Plenty of other options out there as well. So also want to take note if you have a defense looking to stream against a particular offense, I think possibly the Giants might be your go-to to stream against. Don't forget also about the Kenyon Drake injury. I hope nobody had to see that because that was gruesome. We'll talk about with Dr. Miller, but that thing is broken for sure. So bad, in fact, that Kenyon Drake actually, and maybe we'll bring our lovely Miss Mary Jane Cooper on at some point to talk about this, but he wants to change the way the league is allowed to have clips shown out because of his injury, assuming that, he is maybe his kids. He doesn't want people he knows or whatever, and maybe himself to see the injury over and over again. So he wants to change the way the league is I guess copyrights their clips, so to speak. So something to note. Adam Thielen, also big trouble for your fantasy perspective because he's got a high ankle sprain. So it could be a couple weeks, maybe more. We know how these high ankle sprains go. We'll talk to Dr. Miller about it, but I would not expect him to be on your roster for the fantasy playoffs. So just something to note. Miles Sanders, you can go ahead and knock off as well. Re-injured the same ankle he just came back from. So that is probably going to be a wrap for Mr. Sanders for this week or for this year. Very disappointing year after, how well he played last year. Again, Kenneth Gainwell, he had an okay game in his replacement, but if Scott's coming back, so it's this constant array of it's almost like the 49ers backfield where we're just going to be mixing guys in each week, and we'll see if somebody can take hold, but I just stay away from that backfield altogether. Logan Thomas, ACL, MCL tear, so he is bye-bye. Yes, sir.
Some news on that. So
you do.
There was an MRI. It came back. He did not tear the ACL, but is still significant damage to the knee that he won't be playing for the rest of the season. So he didn't tear the ACL, but there's something going on with the knee that he's not going. He's still probably missed the rest of the season.
All right. Well, then that's actually, it's good that you did mention that because that's implications for next season because it's such a late. We saw this with OBJ, Saquon. These guys had these late ACL tears. It took them a while to get back. So good news, I guess, for Logan Thomas and perhaps for next season being able to bounce back anyway. Joe Burrow got hurt in that game with his finger, but apparently it swelled up and came back in and played pretty decently. It was a decent game to watch. Got them back into it. So nothing really to note there, just notable that he hurt his finger. And Tyrod Taylor hurt his wrist. Oh, yeah. I mean, he didn't look very good. I mean,
he has the worst luck, I think, of any quarterback I've seen. Last year was the puncturing of the lungs, and now, bro.
Yeah, he puts his body out there. I noticed in a few of the runs that I've seen him take off this year, the guy's just trying to leap over people, doing lots of I don't know his age, but I know he's getting up there at this point. So, hey, bro, sometimes okay to slide down or run out of bounds a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, especially at that age. So, all right, so that will kill the news for today, unless anyone has anything else. We're going to move on to Stash or Trash. And tonight, a little special edition. Nick wanted to be host again. So he's going to host tonight, and I am going to take on Greg tonight. So this should be interesting. I put some Jets on here just so actually I did it because I thought I'd bring some Steelers in for Nick later. But since Nick wanted to be host, I'm like, let's bring it. I love talking shit about the Jets. All right, let's get it started with Stash or Trash.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrap that kitchen floor.
All right, Nick, you're host. Let's go ahead and bring up round one.
All right, round one. Let's start with Cooper. Cooper, we're going to talk about Zach Wilson. You are going to trash him while Greg stashes him. Cooper,
all right,
you are up first.
So starting with me on Zach Wilson. Okay, well, Zach Wilson, we are at the end of our fantasy playoff season. So at this point, you are stashing someone for the playoffs is essentially what you're looking for. Maybe you had someone go down this week. So maybe you need someone to stash it. This is not your guy. He is 35th right now in fantasy quarterbacks. Let me give you his numbers. 1,539 yards, 6 TDs, 11 interceptions. His QBR rating is 24.8. And guess what, guys? Unlike some of these other new quarterbacks that like to run, he's got 25 yards for the entire season. So, ladies and gentlemen, I almost forgot to close my argument. The schedule. Oh, my God, I forget. The Saints, not a bad defense to go against. The Dolphins. Hello. The Jags, who also proved not to be a bad defense. The Bucks in the championship round. And if for some reason your championship goes to the last week of the season, week 18, the Bills. I'm done.
Mr. Mayor, what you got? That's what I thought. Jason, you're going to
wait.
Okay, hold on.
I hate Jason, but you know what? I always find something. I'm gonna find something. So, like Jason stated, you may have an injury, you may have something happen to a quarterback. There is some favorable matchup going down the stretch. So the reason why I say this is the Jets want to see what Zach Wilson is going to do and be as a quarterback going into next season to see if he's the man. So what they're going to do, they're going to put the offense in his hands. There's no Corey Davis, so he's going to be throwing to Elijah Moore, Jameson Crowder, who've shown they're his favorite targets and his tight ends. So going down the stretch, they're going to put the ball in Zach Wilson's hands. Remember, Michael Carter, the great rookie running back that they had, is also out for about 2 more weeks. So what are they going to do? They're going to put it in the rookie's hand. And he had a decent game this past week, 23 fantasy points against Philly. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. He's still there and can still show what he can do down the stretch.
I like the baby reference with the Zach
bring
Wilson
it, baby. I can bring it.
Face. All right, Nick, who you got?
Okay, well, also, once that was not brought up is he's the only rookie quarterback who's actually regressing. So I'm going to go with Jason in round 1.
All right.
No.
Are we surprised? I don't know why we'd be
out of my ass. You got to give me points for that.
I don't know. Why.
It just wasn't enough.
I don't know why we just already know what this conclusion is already. All right, let's go to round 2. Round 2. Who you got, Nick?
I have David Montgomery. Cooper, you got to trash him. And Greg, you got to stash him.
It's the other way around, but that's okay.
Sure, go for it.
Greg, we'll start with you.
So I'm trashing him.
Yes, you're trashing. I'm sorry.
This is tough because running backs are so needed in fantasy football. I mean, he does have some tough matchups going down the stretch. He's going into Lambeau Field on a Sunday night, and that's going to be like a lot of, last game of the season or first round of playoffs for some leagues. So that's Green Bay's defense has shown to be tough. So I think there's going to be a tough matchup going into Green Bay in Lambeau Field. That's going to be tough. Don't know who the quarterback is going to be. It's going to, Andy Dalton looks shaken up. Justin Fields still not ready. So what the defense is going to do? They're going to key on David Montgomery. So I wouldn't trash him per se, but I would definitely bench him next week. They have Minnesota after that. Minnesota's been so-so against the run, and then Seattle has been tough against the run. So he doesn't have some favorable matchups going down the stretch. So I would have to bench him. Not trash him, but I would definitely bench him.
So
you giving me the tough ones, Jason.
Well, listen, no, I gave you the good ones. I gave you some. I even gave you the good ones tonight, so you couldn't say anything. I was like, I'm gonna give you some Jets and give you something good to talk
but you
about.
got me trashing David Montgomery.
Well, that's true. But listen, there's no easier argument for me. This guy, okay, right now he's currently at 35th RB in the year. Last year, don't forget, he finished number 6. Now, take out the few games he's been out this year. It's why he has low productivity. Plus, the offense has been in a flux with Dalton and Fields, so obvious. So you almost went down the right field there, Greg. You are correct. Next week, if you are just made it in and are playing in the playing game, you would be, if you have such a thing, you would be playing Green Bay next week. That is correct. They are number 9 against fantasy running backs. But where you're getting your stats from is where I'm really lost. Minnesota is 29th against fantasy running backs. Seattle 24th. And in the fantasy championship, they play the Giants, which are the 25th ranked against.
Jason, you gave me you put me in a tough position, bro. You put me in a tough position.
I might just sweep this whole thing, Nick.
You might.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Fuck it. Because Nick doesn't like me anyways. Fuck it.
Okay. So as much as I agree with Jason,
what you do
to keep this thing going, I'm going to give it to Greg.
No pity shit.
That's a pity points. You just got some pity points, Greg. All right, let's go on to round 3. Who we got, Nick?
We have Elijah Mitchell, my friends.
Mitchell.
I'm sorry, Elijah Moore.
Yo, pre-production, Nick. Pre-production, baby.
I'm sorry, I misread it.
Oh, my
Elijah Moore.
goodness.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Black guy entertainment. Stupid.
It would help if you took the glasses off your forehead and actually put them on. Then you could
For
see
as
it.
many times as Jason has messed up, and he has never given him.
Yeah, but that one, I've called myself out, and that one you deserve because that's not your first one tonight. All right, let's get it on.
Excuse you?
I am going to start
so,
out tonight. I am
Elijah
going to
Moore.
trash Elijah Moore. Here we
Elijah
go.
Moore.
Are we ready?
Cooper,
Let's
you're going
see
to trash.
this. I gotta hear this.
All right, here we go. I don't really have much. No, honestly, Elijah Moore, he's hot at the right time. He's somebody you do want to get in your lineup down the stretch. However, if I'm going to make the case, I'm going to go back to the Zach Wilson argument. Who they play, we'll go back to the Saints, Dolphins, Jags, Bucks, Bills. So you're playing some tough defenses. Right now, Elijah Moore is the 33rd fantasy receiver overall. So let me give you some names who are ahead of him. Darnell Mooney, Robert Woods, who's hurt for the rest of the season, Kendrick Bourne, Van Jefferson, D-Hop, who's been hurt half the season. These are all receivers ahead of Elijah Moore. Again, go to Zach Wilson argument I made earlier. Makes Elijah Moore trash.
Ready? Elijah Moore's stats for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. He has 2, 3, 4, 5 TDs in the last 5 games. He has 8 targets, 6 targets, 11 targets, 8 targets, and 12 targets the last game. So they're feeding and featuring Elijah Moore going down the stretch. Again, I just mentioned earlier, Corey Davis is done for the season. Elijah Moore slides into that number one position as the wide receiver one. You have Crowder, which is on the downside of his career, and there's nobody else they're going to pass it to. And what also helps with Elijah Moore, he also gets the ball on some jet sweeps when they're in the red zone. So Elijah Moore is going to give you points not only in the receiving game, but in the passing game. He is the only offensive weapon the Jets have. And going down the stretch, nothing better than to have the only offensive weapon on your fantasy team in the playoffs.
Not only did Greg make a value argument, he also did a pun when he used the term jet sweep when describing the Jets. So, bam, points for Greg.
All I need is a miracle. All I need is you. All I need is a
Nick, you like me. You really like me.
I never said I didn't like you. You said I didn't. So
All right, let's go to round 4. Who we got, Nick?
we got your boy Evan Ingram. Cooper, you're gonna stash him. Greg, you're gonna trash him. Let's go with Greg first. Trash his ass. I mean, trash him.
Who's their quarterback? Who's going to be throwing them the ball?
I believe this week. I think it's still Glennon.
No, I think Glennon is in concussion protocol.
yes, he is in
I don't even know who the hell is the quarterback this week for the Giants.
Jake Fromm or whatever.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Jake
They
Fromm.
play the Chargers, good defense. The Cowboys, decent defense. And Philly, which is also a decent defense going down the stretch. And Evan Ingram hasn't done shit the entire season. He hasn't been double figures in standard leagues the entire season. He has 2 touchdowns on the season. The highest target he had the whole season is 8, and that was back in week 7 against Carolina. There's so many other options at tight end than Evan Ingram. I am trashing him. The Giants, sorry, both New York teams suck. The Giants are just as bad as the Jets, and they don't have a goddamn quarterback. Who's throwing them the ball? Come on, tell me. I want to see what Jason's going to pull out of his ass for Evan Ingram. This got to be good. This is
Evan Ingram is 10th on this week, so not too shabby this week. So also don't forget, yeah, you are correct. We don't know when Mike Glennon will get back, but he could be back the following week. He's serviceable. We don't know what Jake Fromm might do. He might come in, upset some things. You never know. You also have Tooney hurt. You got Galladay who went out of the game. You already know Sterling Shepard's injury woes. So they have no one else to throw it to. I think you just made the same case for Elijah Moore. There is no one else on that roster to throw to other than Evan Ingram. So you use the same argument, put Evan Ingram in there, and just put it back to you. Let's also look at the schedule. 26. They're going against the Chargers next week. 26 against fantasy tight ends. The Cowboys, 21st against fantasy tight ends. Hey, guess who they're playing in the fantasy championship? The Eagles, dead last against fantasy tight ends, my friend. Sorry. You gotta stash it.
I just gotta say 2 words why Evan Ingram won't do shit. Kyle Rudolph. He's the starting tight end.
It's funny how you think you had a point there, but
I know. I just had to throw it out there.
You had it until you said Kyle Rudolph. So I'm gonna give it to Cooper.
Dang, I already won. We're gonna go around 5 though anyway. I already beat you. All right, but let's go to round 5.
You beat me already?
Who we got? Yeah, that's 3-1.
No.
All right, let's go to round 5. What we got? It's okay, Nick. We're okay. I told you I was gonna sweep this thing anyway. All right, who we got?
Wilson and Montgomery.
Who we got for round 5?
Pre-production, Nick. Pre-production.
No, we got Blitzburg.
Right. I'm going to stash him. Greg's going to trash him. This segment is really waning now. Greg, go ahead and trash the Steelers. And Nick, I know you want to give it to Nick. So go ahead.
I have nothing to say at this point. I already lost. So it's like the Steelers are done. Big Ben is done. Fuck Pittsburgh. I hope they get blown out next week. I don't give a shit because Nick doesn't know how to play this game. I'm done. I'm over this.
Okay.
All right,
Jason, you won. Move on.
Playmakers with Watts and Minka Fitzpatrick. Let's look at their schedule, though. At the Vikings next week, not necessarily I would start them, but they do play the Titans the following week. They go to Pittsburgh. That's a decent play. They then go to KC, who right now isn't really that KC we're scared of. So could be a play. And then in the fantasy championship, you got the Brownies visiting the Steelers. So could be a decent play as well. They've been kind of struggling with their offense also. All right, we're going to take a quick break. By the way, Nick, for your tryout for host, you're fired. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about fantasy leaders.
Hey everyone, it's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people, and our network, the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, is no different. So we teamed up with our friends from Manscaped to give back to the people for an exciting holiday giveaway. We want you to look and feel smooth this holiday season. So we're giving away the Manscaped 4.0 Performance Package. And all you have to do is go to our Facebook page at Belly Up Sports, give us a like, and that well-deserved 5-star review, and you're entered to win. It's as simple as Grandma's holiday pie, and who knows what holiday magic awaits once those ornaments are looking shiny and new again. So what are you waiting for? Give us a like, that well-deserved 5-star review, and you could be belly up all holiday season.
You know, it didn't work out for him, but I was just thinking as that commercial was going on, as Manscaped should totally send a pair of those clippers to Harbaugh for that ballsy move he made. Bro, I was sitting there watching that, and all I just kept saying was balls.
But did you hear why he did it, though?
What's that?
You heard why he did it?
No. What did he say? Why? I didn't hear that.
Because he didn't know who was going to play cornerback for the rest of the game, so he was like, I had to do it. Because Humphreys got hurt. He's done for the season. So he's like, I might as well take the chance now because I don't know who's going to play cornerback. So
that is hilarious. I didn't know the reasoning at the time, but I was sitting there watching that like, wow, that's some cojones right there, bro.
That was a good game.
It was a great game. It was some great games all weekend, and some real big fantasy points being actually thrown around this week. I know we've been kind of been short lately on our points, but this week we had some good ones. Let's in fact talk about them now. Let's bring up our fantasy leaders.
Leader of the pack. One day my dad said, find someone new.
So in the quarterback, we'll start with there. How about Tom Brady? I mean, we had him as QB1 for a reason. He went to QB1 and just dominated Atlanta this week. Atlanta, there, you okay? You want to cough that out somewhere else? Thanks. Watch out. No,
not even, babe, are you okay? You need to eat some water. Get your ass out of here.
Talking about ballsy. Call your wife out.
That's what it's supposed to be.
On the couch
it's
today.
all for production and fun. All right, Tom Brady dominating the Atlanta Falcons this week. Anyway, yeah, so great game by Tom Brady. Afterwards, we got Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. Again, he's been really, really shining this year, and really putting it down the stretch. Matt Stafford comes in at number 4. Greg, he's been your guy here. Let's talk about Matt Stafford. What'd you think of the game this week he had?
Listen, I remember beginning of the season we were talking real highly of Matt Stafford, and he's coming through with it. And they, added OBJ and run game that's going to help protect him going down the stretch. I think if you have Matthew Stafford on your team, you should be very happy because there's some quarterbacks that are getting real hot right now, and there's some that's not, a.k.a. Lamar Jackson. So Stafford is looking good. He's looking for Jefferson. He's looking for, man, and I know you're going to probably pick him up or put him up in the next segment, but, man, Cooper Kupp, like, Jesus, Stafford is definitely – he can be a league winner, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, got Cooper Kupp, as you mentioned, and he found OBJ in the end zone. He found himself. Van Jefferson still is not nothing to shake a stick at neither. So you're right, definitely could be a league winner for you down the stretch. Jared Goff comes in at number 5. What a cool moment that was. I'm sure y'all saw the clip with him celebrating on the sideline with the coach. I mean, that's great stuff, man. And good job, Jared Goff, bringing that final drive down the stretch. So good stuff there. Number 6, Zach Wilson. I screwed up there because I really wanted you to talk about Zach Wilson. So let's go back and talk about him real quick. Greg, what are your thoughts on the performance this week? I'll get to you, Nick. My bad.
It was well needed, not only for Jets fans, but also for Zach Wilson's confidence going down the stretch and going into next season. So I watched some of the game, and I guess he learned something from Flacco and Mike White. He's actually checking the ball down and not taking chances. So he's letting his playmakers do what they need to do. But what I like I mentioned before, I like that he's looking for Elijah Moore a lot more. And hopefully this can be for all Jets fans, this can be a turn in the development of Zach Wilson. Because if you think about it, we have a young offensive line, and they can develop the offensive line. The only thing that stands in our way, of course, is Patriots, Dolphins, Buffalo,
Yes, it stands in all of our way.
But I think down the stretch, if he can build off of that and and he can show what he did in college and in the pros, he might be a sneaky good pickup going down the stretch.
Now, you guys laughed when I brought up Taysom Hill last week, but he ended up having a decent game. Number 7 QB overall this week. Now let's get to number 8 because that's the one I really wanted to talk to Nick about. He came out from the grave. Like, listen, I'm not done yet. All right, he's not done yet, folks. Ben Roethlisberger. What are your thoughts on that matchup, Nick?
I was excited. I don't know what I was excited more for when, for as well as Ben played, or as poorly as Jackson threw that 2-point attempt. I was ecstatic. But you know what? This is good for Ben. He can put on the hat, go on the horse, and lead him to the playoffs. One last time to Greg. You're looking at me, and I'm telling you what.
No, listen. You're like a schoolgirl with the crush on the quarterback of the high school football team. You are glowing right now.
That is on his horse, Ben on a horse with his hair blowing in the wind.
I'm speaking.
He's glowing. He's like,
I'm speaking.
Big
Excuse me.
got on the horse and rode up.
Okay, so look at who he plays. Week 14 next week, he plays the Vikings, who are right now. The Vikings are currently 27th against the pass. If you play him again and you move on, he plays Tennessee. Tennessee is 30th against the pass. So then if you make it to the championship round, he plays KC. All right? I'm sorry. The next round would be your championship round. Then he plays the Browns. So therefore, if you have an opportunity to pick him up, I would pick him up because his numbers could look better than this week's.
Nick,
Greg,
quick question. Would you play Big Ben going down the stretch over, let's say, a Pat Mahomes that's kind of struggling right now?
Yeah. You just said he's struggling. Did you see the defense? Did you hear the defenses that I said that he was playing? 27, 30, 24.
Really? Over Pat Mahomes.
Wow. All right,
What did Pat Mahomes do last night?
Not to fall over.
Jason, he just proved that he's in love.
He did prove he is definitely in love. He's in the puppy love stage for sure.
Wait. One more question. Would you start Big Ben over Tom Brady?
Next week, Tom Brady's playing Buffalo, so I'd give it some serious consideration.
Please pick him up in our league and play him against me. Please do it. I dare you.
Yeah, give it some serious. All right, yeah, he wants you to give it some serious consideration next week.
You know, it'd be funny if I did that and then I beat his ass.
I wish you would, and then we could talk about it on the show because that would be fun to talk about. All right, let's move on with the rest of our. We got Kirk Cousins still had a decent game, number 9, and Garner Minshew. Ooh, we get into that top 10. It's Minshew mania in Philly. Good job, Mr. Minshew. All right, we're gonna move on to our running backs. Jonathan Taylor, once again, no big surprise. He was our number 1 running back of the week, and guess what? There he is. 143 yards, 2 TDs, and no receiving, though, this week for Jonathan Taylor, but it didn't seem to matter. Javonte Williams had a great game as well with no Melvin Gordon, 102 yards on the ground, 6 receptions, 76 yards, and a TD for him. We talked about David Montgomery. He came in at number 3 this week. And again, I think going forward, he's got a lot to look forward to. Madison still playing well with Dalvin Cook out, 90 yards and a touchdown, 3 receptions for 34 yards for him. Sony Michel, a decent game without no Henderson, 121 yards, 1 TD, 3 receptions for 8 yards. Antonio Gibson. Nick, let's talk about him. He comes in at, he's that number? I'm counting down. I forgot where I was at. I think I missed James Conner actually on that list. So he's at number 6. Sorry, number 7, Antonio Gibson. So my bad on that. Antonio Gibson, give me your thoughts on him going forward. Another good game. They continue to see it was no J.D. McKissick this week, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's still money, when it matters. What do you think of him going forward?
I think ever since the bye, the 4 games since the bye, he scored over 20 points with the exception of the 1 game against Carolina. So he did a 21, a 23, and a 22. And then the next 3 games, he plays Dallas twice and Philly once. So he's got a great opportunity to score some points for you. And yes, I will be playing him next week when I play Greg when they play Dallas. So I think
just in case he was wondering.
Well, you know what's funny? He plays Dallas and Phillies twice, 2 times each. So he plays Philly in the championship game. So if you get Antonio Gibson, he will win you a game. So.
Indeed. All right, number 8, Devonta Freeman had a decent showing against the Steelers. Travis Homer, number 9. I mean, again, we talked about that, before the game. There's like, who do you pick in this backfield? Just stay away from it for now. And Adrian Peterson got the TD. So is he going to be the guy? Is it Travis Homer? Rashad Penny looks like he might be the guy. So
they're all going to be the guy.
Just stay away.
His points on that fake punt.
Right. We're going back to the stay away from this backfield because it's a hot mess right now. Leonard Fournette, Greg, we'll talk about him at number 10. Again, he's been, this. I thought originally, okay, he's going to fade away pretty quick. There's not enough offense for him to get on the field, but he's, been really good, consistently on the season. So talk about him going forward.
Well, he looks like he's a favorite of Tom Brady. Like Brady looks for him on those flare routes coming out of the backfield in the red zone. He passes it to him. So he doesn't just get his work done while running the ball. He's making it up receiving the ball as well, especially in the red zone. So especially we don't know what's going on with Antonio Brown, because I heard this rumor swirling that he may not even come back. From what Bruce Arians has said when they first signed him, if he gets in trouble, they're done with him. So after that 3-game suspension, we may never see Antonio Brown in another Bucs uniform. So you got Fournette in the passing game, you got Gronk, you got Godwin, you got Evans. Going down the stretch, I think Fournette is a good pickup. Of course, he can win you some games, especially if you traded for him for a busted OBJ.
Nick, listen, I know you want to say something, but don't get on this train again. Nick gets on this whole teacher thing with last time he's like, pack your shit, get out of here to Antonio Brown.
I think the whole ultimatum line in the sand thing, that's not going to happen because it would have been done by now. It's already been a week. It would have already been done. They would have already cut him by now. So I don't think it's going to. Why wait 3 weeks and then cut him, or unless they're going to say
They're not
we're
paying
going to
him.
wait for more
The 3
evidence.
games, they're not
There is no
paying
more
him.
evidence.
There might be some in the league rules with that too. If he's on an active suspension, maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll look into that. So yeah, but you might be right. That, I understand your logic behind what you're saying, but like I've heard the same thing. What Greg was saying that they're contemplating whether they're going to bring him back or not. So we'll see how it plays out.
No, they don't need him.
They definitely don't need him. And they're going to,
healthy.
what are they going to do? I mean, how long is Tom Brady going to play? They got to retool this whole thing at some point. So, how long are they going to keep on Antonio Brown? All right, let's go to, speaking of receivers, we'll go to our fantasy leaders for receivers. Justin Jefferson, number 1 this week at the Adam Thielen injury. We might see him in the top 10 quite a bit down the stretch. Deontay Johnson, Nick, I'll go to you on Deontay Johnson. What are your thoughts on him going forward?
Deontay Johnson, he is the mainstay in Pittsburgh. He's Ben's number 1 target. Every time he needs a deep pass, a possession reception, he looks for number 18. Next week, he scored double digits, 14 plus every week this season. He is your number 15 on the season, which I don't know how many other receivers are put up more than that. But I mean, he's averaging what's he averaging now? He's averaging 18.6 points. I mean, come on. So next week he plays Minnesota. The following week he plays Tennessee, and then he's got KC, and then he finishes up with Cleveland. So again, ride him until the wheels fall off. He is a guaranteed plug and play, getting you at least 18 points. I don't know any team that can't afford to miss out on 18 points from one guy.
Yeah, no, agreed, absolutely. T. Higgins, he still continues to baffle me. Now he's back again, the top 3 receiver on the week. Crazy enough.
I think he's doing it just to piss you off.
Apparently. Cooper Kupp at number 4. Keenan Allen's hot down the stretch right now. He's at number 5. And it's funny at number 6, Greg, you talked about the receivers. You're like, okay, and literally like the first one I said was Harris, just out of the only name I could say, and how he pops up here at number 6.
And guess what? He's suspended for the next 3 games as well.
So we'll see who the next guy is this week. Jalen Guyton had a decent game. The Chargers had a great game all the way around, so good job there. Amon St. Brown for the Lions at number 8. By the way, Nick, I wanted to shout you out because Josh Reynolds also had a good game. He had a couple of defense things, and you brought him up, and I saw him a couple times. So I made note to shout you out for that.
I like the St. Brown kid, man. If you're in the Dynasty League, I would definitely make sure you hold on to him because he looks like a good rookie going down the stretch. So, if you're in the Dynasty League, I would definitely stash him. Definitely.
Yeah, and who knows what they're building there in Detroit. Like I said, that was like a very feel-good, even if you weren't a Detroit fan, that feel-good moment for them winning the game. That's the kind of things that turn a franchise around. So, not to say that all of a sudden they're going to be winners, but Jared Goff isn't a bad quarterback. He had a decent time in L.A. With the Rams, so I have no doubt in them. And if they, like you said, Greg, this is you're looking at franchise – fantasy-wise, I mean, he's somebody you might want to stash for right now. I think. Great.
What was that one big game that he played in? I can't remember.
Who are we talking about?
Jared Goff. What was that one huge game that he played in?
Bowl?
Yeah, that's it. The Super Bowl. Yeah, he's not terrible.
That he lost.
Right, yeah.
Tom Brady lost 3.
Let's not forget, Jared Goff brought us that moment, with him and Pat Mahomes went back and forth on that. Monday night or something, or Sunday night. And that was the best fantasy freaking game I think I've ever seen in my life. It was just crazy how back and forth they were. So anyway, point is Goff's got potential to do better. So we'll see going forward. Chris Godwin at number 9 and Elijah Moore. We spent some good time talking about him at number 10. All right, on to the tight ends. And, man, I called it. I told you George Kittle number 1. And number 1 indeed was stay. But like you said, listen, when you don't have Deebo Samuel there, what the hell do you think was going to happen? So, I think it was just an obvious choice there. Goddard at number 2. Nick, we'll go to you. You're our resident Eagle expert. What'd you think of Goddard's performance, and do you think he can do this again going forward?
Nick, he played the Jets. He played the Jets.
Or with Minshew, mind you, too.
He played the Jets.
I believe he asked me.
I'm just saying. I'm helping you. He played the Jets.
I believe he asked me.
Okay, I'm helping you. He played the Jets.
Thank you. So let's keep it in perspective. He played the Jets. All right. So that was number one. Number two, he made up for his missed reception last week that he should have had on the sideline to keep the drive going against the Giants. So, and number three, it's about time he steps up because he just got paid. So, step up, score. And I hope he does keep it going because it would be a nice thing to have in that offense, a reliable pass catcher, because Devontae comes and goes. He's like a carousel. I mean, you see it come and go, and he's not reliable. I mean, the best ability is availability, and he's not always available.
Indeed. Let's also, who we got there? Next is Gronk at number 3, T.J. Hawkinson at number 4. By the way, Gronk's just continuing a great year. T.J. Hawkinson at number 4. Again, Goff with the great play down in Detroit, so he had a good game. Number 5, sad Logan Thomas. Again, we talked about him. He's done for the year. Came in and had a good game, though. So, sad here. Jimmy Graham at number 6. Again, I think I told you guys last week when we had this discussion, we talked about tight ends and availability. There are guys out there like Brock Wright at number 7 that you could have just
Where are you getting these stats?
And he's number 7.
Who does he play for?
I mean, how about I believe it was the Lions. If I look, yeah, I think he does play for the Lions.
Yeah, he's the backup tight end.
The backup tight end for
the top 10?
If you would have started the backup tight end for the Lions, you had the number 7 tight end of the week. So Ryan Griffith, number 8. I think we know who he plays for. So whatever.
I said it.
Cameron Brate and number 9, and Evan Ingram talked about him earlier.
Griffith play for?
So there we go. All right,
your team.
Let's go on. You didn't even know,
bro. Listen,
that's a dumbass right there,
bro. That's your team, bro.
Listen, let me tell you something. After like Gronk, Kittle, Kelsey, Hawkinson, give a fuck.
That's your team, bro.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Play tight, need a stupid.
You know what? I take it. But you know what I noticed? I'm looking at the top 10 tight ends. You got 2 from the Bucks, and you got 2 from the Lions. That's how bad the tight ends are.
Exactly. That's what makes you. It makes you wonder why it's still a position in fantasy. All right, let's go.
We lobbied to get rid of it, but people wanted to keep it.
Let's go to the defenses and just finish things up. The Chargers had a great defensive game against the Bengals. We're going to talk about this defense in a second, actually, in my waiver wire pickups, because they have those Giants next week. And if they did what they did to the Bengals, they're definitely going to have a good week next week. Colts at number 2, Chiefs at number 3, Cowboys at 4, Bucks at 5, Cardinals at 6, Steelers 7, Rams 8, Dolphins 9, and the 49ers at 10. All right, let's go on to this week's Flanders Floppies. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Breaking news.
Damian Harris is questionable to return in the game. He has pulled his hamstring. But good thing to have a bye next week. So
I wanted to hit it, but before you said it, but then I missed it. So I had to get in it afterwards. All right. So breaking news during the Monday Night Football game. I was going to get to that after we do the flop. We're going to get a little. I'll give the what's going on. I see him jogging back on the field now.
Breaking news: Josh Allen is 7-11 for 57 yards and 1 score.
Wow. Yeah. It's been a crazy, windy, nasty game, which is great for me because the guy I'm playing has Josh Allen and needs 30 points, and it ain't happening. All righty. Let's go on to this week's Flanders Flops.
Gucci flip flops, make a kick rock. This a big clock. Check the wristwatch. Gucci flip flops, fucking hit your bitch and massage. This a big.
I wish Nick would just dance and do a video for it.
I know. Well, listen. After doing the commercial and the live commercial that I did, that changes the whole game next year. So next year we're gonna have some live videos and do some cool intros, I think. So lots to look forward to.
Also, the way I'm positioned on the screen when he puts the graphic up, you can't see me dance anyway. So
that's true.
That's a bigger point.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some clips before the season starts of you dancing. Don't worry. All right, who you got your flops for this week?
Okay, so since I was told to pick this person, I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway.
He paid attention to pre-production.
No, I was told.
Let's be fair. We'll put it out there. He put Tyrod Taylor as his flop this week. I was like, Nick, who the fuck started Tyrod Taylor? He's not a flop. No one expected him to do anything. That's not a flop.
All right, go. All right.
Well,
anyway,
you know who was?
So we'll go with Pat Mahomes, who you just argued with me about because, would you start Pat Mahomes over Ben Roethlisberger? He went through for 184 yards, no TDs, one pick for 14 points. So against your division rival in a big game, he came up Kirk Cousins. So not too well.
All right, who else you got?
Well, because we all know how Kirk Cousins plays in prime time.
It's not funny when you have to explain it. All right, go.
You're right. You're so right. Okay, so we got James Robinson. He had 24 yards on 8 carries for 3.5 points against a pretty weak defense. I thought he came up bigger than that, but again, when you play for Jacksonville, you get what you get.
Yeah, he had a couple fumbles too, and for those that for some of those leagues that those count against, so he had a real bad day if you were in that. So
now these next two are in direct correlation to Pat Mahomes. We got Tyreek Hill. He had 2 catches on 5 targets for 22 yards. 2.2 points. So he didn't win you any games. And then his homeboy over there, Travis Kelce, had 3 receptions.
Do you see?
that's not what he said.
Oh, that's right.
Pre-production,
Jason,
Nick.
I'm sorry.
Pre-production.
I did it. No, I pulled the change up on you because I found a bigger star who did worse. So I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce had 3 catches on 8 targets for 27 yards and for 2.7 points.
All right, and who else we got?
Excuse me for calling an audible and not telling you. I apologize for that.
That's okay.
So then I hate to do this to this team because they're not too bad. But dude, the Vikings. The Vikings, man, they came up. They lost the game on the last play of the game to the Detroit winless Lions. And then on top of that, they only scored 6 defensive points. So therefore, they are the big flop of the week. And I'm sure they cost a lot of people wins in their survivor pools and their bets in Vegas this week. So Vegas won some money.
Yeah.
But Nick, would you really consider the Vikings a flop, though? I mean,
against Detroit like that? Yeah.
Yeah, they were ranked high this week. I'm gonna give them this week. This week they're ranked high.
They haven't really showed up. Their defense is like Jason said. Their defense sucks. So it's like,
okay. But you're playing Detroit, who has nobody, and they're winless. So they're expected to come up big.
Yeah, the Detroit offense was, obviously that's a good play though. So I'm gonna give Nick that one. I'm gonna give.
Well, thank you, sir.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate your kindness.
No, you're also welcome. Speaking of our kindness, let's take a quick commercial break so we can kindly thank our sponsors. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about this week's waiver wire.
Hey, Phlanders here. Do you want to learn how to defend yourself, become more confident, and be more fit? If so, I recommend John Emmons Taekwondo in Kissimmee, Florida. At this dojang, you will learn an old art for a modern age under the tutelage of an 8th degree black belt master, John Emmons. If you want the martial arts to be part of your life and you value hard work with high quality results at reasonable prices, then John Emmons Taekwondo is the place for you. They can be found at emmonstaekwondo.com, and you can call them at 407-931-1118. John Emmons Taekwondo is our #1 pick for self-defense, and we are the fantasy show of the people.
All righty, let's talk about this week's waiver wire. This week's waiver wire's music actually should sound more like this.
What's out there?
Because there ain't much. So don't forget, the only thing I just wanted to mention, because they were on the bye, I put a little exclamation out of a 1. Devonta Foreman and Deontay Hilliard had great running games right prior to the bye, and I know we have short memories, but so if they are out there on your waiver wire and you need someone, you're in a pinch, I know we got some buys this week, one of those guys might fill it in for you, so might want to take a look at them. I know Kenneth Gainwell and Devonta Parker are both on a bye this week, but both, again, are pickups to grab if you're looking for the playoffs and looking for a run. Might be someone to grab. And also, like aforementioned, the Chargers defense looked great against the Bengals. They played the played the Giants this week with we don't know who at quarterback. So I would most definitely make them a priority in your waiver wire. Guys, you got anyone else?
I wanted your guys' opinion. What do you think about like Randall Cobb going down the stretch?
I like Randall Cobb a lot. I mean, Randall Cobb's had a great year. I forget at what point, but we had him on a fantasy family feud question, and it was either, I think it was red zone targets. Yes, it was something about red zone targets. He was like 7th or 8th, which really surprised me. So if he's getting that from Aaron Rodgers, hell yes, I would jump on Randall Cobb.
3 guys, three quarterbacks. Actually,
Yes.
2 quarterbacks you might want to take a look at depending on your situation. Tannehill's playing Jacksonville next week, and Cam is playing Atlanta. So
Okay.
if there's a game where he could have a big one, it would be Atlanta.
Could be a plug and play. Yes, I agree. All right, so right before we get out of here, I just will give an update on the Monday Night Football. It has been a real crazy game. It's windy. The defenses obviously are dominating this football game. But aforementioned, with Damian Harris going out, prior to him going out, 9 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. He's basically been your fantasy guy in this game. Guess what? Yeah, this is the funniest stat on the Patriots at this point. Now there's 9 minutes and 49 seconds in the third quarter. But at this point in the game, there has been one reception by the Patriots by Jonnu Smith for 12 yards. That is it. One. Mac Jones is 1 for 1 for 12 yards. All New England has done is run the football. On the Bills side,
look at Nick's face. Nick is like,
Is that why I put him as a sit-em this week?
Might be. 57 yards from Josh Allen. They're throwing it a little bit more. He does have a touchdown. He's also ran it for 7 yards, so he's doing it okay there. But again, New England is leading this game 11-7. Why? The running game. They have one. Buffalo does not. It's very obvious and evident. Sometimes the momentum's been swinging back and forth because of the wind and the elements. Right now, the Patriots are punting from the 20-yard line, so I'm not sure if they have the wind or not, but it might be good field position for the Bills, and who knows what happens there. All right, that's your Monday night update. Guys, we appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow night. Don't forget, Champs or Chumps tomorrow. Got some fun guests for you tomorrow night. It'll be fun. Do our fun stuff there. Dr. Miller be on for his house call. We'll talk about some of the injuries for this week. and do all of our other fun shit that we do.
Who's our guest tomorrow? Because if I don't like him, I'm not showing up.
What's that?
Who's our guest tomorrow? Because if I don't like him, I'm not showing up.
Well, I just confirmed, so I didn't want to say yet. I just confirmed who it was, so I don't want to shout him out yet. To be honest, I don't know what podcast he's with. I just know his personality on Twitter. I don't know what podcast he represents, so I didn't want to shout him out yet.
On Twitter.
We'll shout him out tomorrow. No worries. All right, guys. Well, again, we appreciate you, and we are out.
Thank you, TSS Fantasy. We love you.
We're on a mission, guys.